who were simply not representing themselves, but representing their constituents of over 240,000 people. They, like others around the country, took the lead and stood shoulder to shoulder, following the moral order of justice and the decorum of truth and love in the Tennessee State House. And they formed a front line of solidarity with people who are crying out in pain, begging and demanding their representatives do something to stop this culture of death and policy violence. But this movement must be, and the story must be, about more than 3 legislators. They have even said that. Because if it's reduced to about 3 legislators or 2, then we forget what you see in front of you, the deaths that brought us here. It must be about the people refusing to accept children dying because politicians block gun laws that would save lives. They block health care that would save lives. They block living wages and refuse to address poverty that would save lives. And we are here, and we will come again and again and again and again. If they try to adjourn, we are going home behind them. We're going to have Moral Mondays led by clergy and impacted people and advocates in their home districts. The first one is going to be in East Tennessee, in Knoxville. Because we don't believe that Tennessee is extremist country. We believe it's God's company. And if we volunteer and stand up together, we can change this state. The legislators are back. But returning individuals to their duly elected seat does not solve the problem. No, the past week's events have simply exposed the problem for all to see. That's a victory, but the people rising, refusing to be silent and comforted, the people mobilizing, organizing, registering voters, the religious leaders, impacted people, and people of conscience of every faith and color and sexuality and age in the street, in the pulpit, in the voting booth, in the halls of the General Assembly, going to jail if necessary, not as a violent insurrection, but as a moral resurrection until policies change. That's when victory will have been won. My brothers and sisters, extremists are using state capitals to make an end run around the U.S. Constitution and the heart of democracy. Nashville is happening all over the country. Mississippi, Florida, North Carolina, all over the country, and especially in the South, we are seeing the attempted political coups. But the resurrection of a moral reconstruction is also happening. Why are we here? We're here because to challenge the reality with the moral resurrection is deeper than partisanism. We're not here as Democrats. We're not here as Republicans. We're not here as black. We're not here as white alone. We're not here as left. We're not here as right. We're here because of the politics of lies and greed and death must be challenged by the moral vision of truth and justice and love and life. That's why we're here. And so make no mistake. As I said 10 years ago when we started Moral Monday in North Carolina, we are black, we are white, we are Latino, we are Asian, we are Native, we are young, we are old, we are Jewish, we are Muslim, we are Christian, we are Unitarians, we are people of faith and not of faith, we are gay, we are straight, we are trans, we are poor, we are wealthy with a conscience, we are Republicans, we are Democrats, we are independent, we are Tennessee, we are America, and we ain't going nowhere. We must have a moral stand on the front line of truth and love, coming together to save lives and establish justice, because the people cannot be silent. Moral Monday says always focus on the issues. Extremists want us to be silent. They want to keep the voters blind to what they're doing. And we will not allow that to happen. We cannot allow the politics of public policy murder. Yes, I said that, public policy murder. When you know a policy will kill people and you keep putting it in place, that's a form of public policy murder, according to a 19th century sociologist. And we've come here today, finally, to put a face on the death that has been normalized. Gun violence is the leading cause of death, but you can't change it with just statistics. You got to put a face on it. You got to make people keep looking at the casket. Like Emmett Till's mama, you got to make them look at what a body looks like when it's riddled by an AK-47. We must say that 46% of all Tennesseans are poor and low wealth. 56% of our children, 3 million people, 1.3 million people in Tennessee make under $15 an hour. 700 people die every day from poverty. 87 million people are uninsured. 330,000 people died from COVID because they didn't have insurance, not from COVID. We cannot accept this policy violence as normal anymore. And we got to call it what it is, sin. That's what it is. And we've got to call it. We can no longer deliver eulogies and give comfort to people that are hurting without standing up to the public policy and changing it so that the death doesn't happen in the first place. And the blood is calling us from the ground. And so we come together. We come together and we recognize that the same people that block gun laws block health care. And the same ones that block health care block voting rights. And the same ones that block voting rights, they block living wages. And the same ones that block living wages, they block dealing with the environment. And if they are cynical enough to be together, we've got to be smart enough to come together and stay together. And so, my brothers and sisters, we are here because we don't need a front man or a front woman. We need a front line. No single leader, no single issue. We're all in this together. And it's time to get together on the front line. We can't afford to sit back. There's no one to note and say, well, we don't know if we have anybody to vote for. Over 800,000 poor and low-wealth Tennesseans didn't vote. Well, it's time to get on the front line. The language left versus right is too puny. We're here to fight for right versus to fight for what's right. It's time to get on the front line. Nashville is happening in capitals all over the South. People are getting on the front line. And when we stand together on the front line, it doesn't mean they won't oppose us. Just ask anybody who's ever stood up nonviolently. They'll bring charges against you. They'll kick you out. They'll lock you up. They'll do everything they can do to silence you. But if there are enough of us on the front line, they can't stop us all. So who's ready to be on the front line? When you get on the front line of justice and the front line of love and the front line of mercy, there's power greater than the power in these buildings behind us. And that power will help you if you get on the front line. When we come together on the front line, one can chase 1,000 and two can put 10,000 to flight. When we come together on the front line, we can change wrong into right. When we come together on the front line, we can bring life rather than death. When we come together on the front line, the stones that the builders rejected become the cornerstone of a new moral movement. Is there anybody gonna sign up and stay on the front line until our babies are protected, until the sick have health care, until the poor are lifted, until the assault weapons are banned? Is there anybody signing up for the front line?
Thank you, Bishop. Good afternoon. My name is Angela Farrell-Zabala, and I'm the Senior Vice President of Movement Building at Everytown for Gun Safety. Moms Demand Action and Students Demand Action. I stand here today with survivors, advocates, and faith leaders to say enough. Yes. 120 people are shot and killed in this country every day, and 200 more are shot and wounded. Enough. Enough. Guns are the leading cause of death for children, teens, and young adults in this country. Enough. 59% of adults in this country or someone they know and care about have experienced gun violence in their lifetime. Enough! I'm a mother. I'm an organizer. And while I'm focusing on gun violence today, I know all of these issues are deeply connected. That's right. I am guided by my faith. I rely on my faith to drive me and keep me moving even when this work gets tough. I joined the fight against gun violence because I wanted to cure this sickness, because our children are dying. I'm tired of hearing about tragedy after tragedy in this country, from the daily gun violence that mostly impact black and brown people that barely make the news. The violence, the school shootings, to the hate crimes, to the police violence, to the gun suicides and domestic violence. And the most our leaders can muster up are thoughts and prayers. I'm a person of faith, and I believe in the power of prayer. But as James taught us, faith without works is dead. We need policies and change. To me, living your faith means asking every day what you can do to help others so that we might all prosper. That's faith in action. That is where lasting change begins. We need our lawmakers to act the same courage that gun violence survivors show every single day. And with that, I want to bring up our next speaker, Jason Sparks, a volunteer with Moms Demand Action and a gun violence survivor.
Just before he comes, turn this mic up some, just before he comes, already this morning, we've heard about other deaths. Alabama, Kentucky, and Kansas City. Yesterday, we were thinking about this gathering, and this man told us something that for us that we were supposed to be here. We want the media to hear, and the next few speakers will be impacted people. That's what we mean by front men and front women. We need the people on the front line. Too often we don't let impacted people speak. So here's somebody who's been directly impacted.
Hi, my name is Jason Sparks. I live here in Nashville with my wife, Abby, and my 2 kids in Metro Nashville schools. Today, my best friend, my little brother, Chris Sparks, would have turned 43. That's never going to happen because 7 years ago, on September 28th, 2016, he was shot to death a few miles from here. Chris was on his way home on his lunch break to walk his beloved rescue dog, Dawson, and was shot and killed in broad daylight by a bad driver he honked at. People call it road rage, but that trivializes the issue. The fact is, it's just murder. The gunman drove off, and I live daily with the fact that I'll probably never know who did it. In 2013, our state legislature passed a guns and trunks bill that allowed people to carry guns in their car. Now we're number 2 in the nation in road murder and lead the nation in guns being stolen from cars. That's policy murder. Today, this House is going to hear a House Bill 1202, and that will allow teachers to carry concealed weapons in classrooms. Our teachers are already overwhelmed, and now they want them to carry guns. Fellow teachers won't know who's carrying. Parents won't know who's carrying. Imagine what would happen in a crisis. Look, if guns made us safer, we'd be the safest damn state in this country. But we aren't. We're a gun-sick state where our supermajority and governor aren't beholden to the will of the people. They're beholden to the cult of the gun. Last week, a top lawmaker asked kids who came to the Hill, what gun would you like to be shot with? That same lawmaker told me 6 weeks ago while I was sitting in his office that the problem wasn't guns, that it was certain communities where fathers aren't present. And throughout the committees I've been before, they always blame society, mental health, video games, anything to avoid doing their jobs and passing common sense gun legislation. Our governor mentioned support for ERPO or red flag laws after the Coverman tragedy. He followed that up with no concrete ideas, and the only bill that was on the table was shot down last Thursday. And now they're trying to run away home because they're scared of the heat that has been putting on them like people by you. But something was different in these last few weeks. Some of these legislatures told you who they were, and you heard it. And now you can never not hear it. Please keep coming back. Don't let up. Do it for my brother Chris, and do it for the 6 innocent lives that were taken at Covenant on March 27th.
Somebody say, do it for his brother and all the brothers and sisters. The next speakers will come. Each of them will give a 2-minute powerful testimony, either as a clergy person or an impacted person. How many of you are registered to vote? How many of you from this place further will go out and get other people registered to vote? How many of you, and don't raise your hand on this, vote? Because that's the serious question. Hear these testimonies now. Hear the nation. Come on and hear them. Reverend Hannah Broom is going to introduce the person as they come.
Thank you, Bishop. We have Sarah Newman. Her child was in school at the Covenant School 3 weeks ago when there was a school shooting. After her, we will have Reverend Chris Bice, Senior Minister of Tennessee Valley Unitarian Universalist Church, who also has dealt with gun violence inside of his church.
I'm not here because I want to be here. I hate public speaking. But Covenant School's my community, my son's school. It's filled with staff that have become friends and people we love dearly. When I first met Catherine Kuntz, our beloved head of school, 3 years ago, she told me Covenant was intentional to make sure every child was loved and known and prepared, and those weren't empty words. During our 3 years there at school, I've witnessed nearly every staff member call my son by name. They know his interests, his strengths, his struggles. They know our whole family. On March 27th at 10:38 a.m., I was in Green Hills about a mile from the school when a friend reached out to ask where my 5-year-old son Noah was. She heard on social media there was an active shooter, and a tweet from the Nashville Fire Department that they were responding to an active aggressor. I said, no, it's a drill. It has to be a drill. I hung up and called my dear friend who's the librarian. She answered with a sound of terror in her voice that I don't have words to describe, screaming and crying. She managed to get out the words to tell me she and her son were okay. Her son was homesick. I knew it wasn't a drill. My own son Noah was okay. He was getting a haircut with his dad, but the rest of our community was inside that building. My friends, our children, so many people we love in that building, our safe space. My 2-year-old and I parked. We ran down Hillsborough Pike as fast as we could to the school. The roads were blocked off. There were cops everywhere. We hadn't even received word from the school yet. I texted our preschool mom's thread, active shooter at Covenant. I could barely type the words. My body was shaking. At that moment, that innocent mom's tech thread was forever changed. From a place that we shared pictures and reminded each other of dress-up days to now coping through trauma and things parents should never have to discuss. I frantically called friends promising to try to find their babies. We got word quick from the school confirming the nightmare, and the shooter was down and a reunification site was in place. I got there as fast as I could, and my husband and Noah joined. I won't ever be able to describe what it was like sitting in that church. I didn't feel like I was in my own body. Holding our friends, praying, waiting to hear if their kids were alive, piecing together things that people saw and heard. All we knew was 7 people were dead from the news. Texted friends, teachers, begging, please just text us the word safe. We got confirmation that our son's teachers were okay, and started hearing back from others, his art teacher he adores, his PE teacher that he loves because he'll make mischief with him, and our dear Pastor Sullivan. My dad drove an hour with the kid to get the kids so they wouldn't witness any more agony. but not before the first mom was told her kid was gone. Those screams and sorrowing wails. I worked in pediatric oncology for 13 years. I held kids in my arms as they died way too many times. Nothing compared to the scream of that mom. We kept learning about more staff members, but no one saw or heard Catherine. We all knew. We knew there's nowhere else she would be other than in that church with us and with the students. My best friend kept asking if anyone had seen her dear friend. No one had. She knew too. She knew what it meant if she wasn't in that reunification room by this time. The last 3 weeks have been deeply painful. Our days are spent hearing children as young as 3 years old describe in horrific detail what they saw and heard. Third graders saw the dead bodies of their friends, not just coffins.
That's right.
Their classmates.
That's right. That's right. Thank you.
They sat in those rooms shielded by their teachers with bullets flying over them. We walked through that school the other day and saw the bullet holes. We saw where those bodies laid and where the staff laid. We went through classrooms that looked like they were frozen in time with March 27th still written on the boards. The trauma's not going to dissipate. It's not going to leave us or our children. It'll just find a home within us and we'll learn to live with it. The most painful question I have had to answer from my 5-year-old, who keeps proudly telling me how brave his teachers were and how they knew exactly how to keep him safe from the bad guy. But he asked Mommy, how did they know to do the practice? Has this happened before? And I said, yes. He said, a lot, Mommy?
Yeah.
I said, yes. He said, so Mommy, this shooter's dead, but more can come. We had everything. We have good security. We had locked doors. We had intense active shooter training. The teachers heard AR-15 shot in the school and had to practice locking down for that. They had everything. Our cops are heroes. They didn't hesitate a second. It's not enough.
And the one thing, let me ask you this, honey. The one thing you did not have was banned assault weapons.
We don't have banned assault
right.
weapons.
And
Sure,
then-
we're going to add the bulletproof glass now, but what about when they're on the playground?
right.
What about when they're playing soccer?
right. Let me ask our brother to come behind, because one of the things I want folk to hear from you and across the nation, I'm holding you because I want you all to say to her, but you won't bear this grief alone. Will you say that? You won't bear. I want you to ask you something as my brother comes, because he needs to share the killing that happened there. You said, and I want the nation to hear what you said. You said, I have worked in pediatric oncology, and I have not heard screams worse than what was experienced there. You know, the folk that say the real problem is mental illness, they are right. It is a form of mental illness when you can hear this kind of pain and still be more interested in guns than you are in saving lives. Thank you so much for sharing. I know it wasn't easy, but thank you. Thank you.
It is important for ministers to speak out for responsible gun laws because we do the memorial services. The solution to the problem of guns in our school is not more guns in our school. When I was a teenager in high school, the security guard at our school was shot to death with his own weapon. If we arm our teachers, we need to be prepared for more memorial services. There's an activist saying, I'd rather be a guardrail at the top of the hill than an ambulance at the bottom. We are advocating for responsible gun laws because we are tired of the sounds of sirens in our community. The scripture tells us we must speak out for those who cannot speak out for themselves, and the victims of gun violence no longer have a voice or a vote. We must be their voice. We must be their vote. Especially for the school children and the teachers whose blood cries out for justice. In 2008, a gunman opened fire in my congregation's sanctuary on a Sunday morning in the middle of a children's play. 2 people were killed, 8 people were injured, and all of us were traumatized. The gunman had a history of domestic violence and anger management issues. A red flag law could have prevented this tragedy. We are told when we speak out on this issue that we must have decorum. Let me tell you something that every minister knows. Traumatized people do not always have everyone's ideas of decorum. There is weeping and wailing at the graveside. There is more heartbreak in this nation than can ever be solved by Robert's Rules of Order. And that is why we are here today.
That's right.
To speak out for those who can't speak for themselves, to put a guardrail at the top of the hill and not an ambulance or a memorial service at the bottom.
Yes. We just got word that they're trying to do a little tricky trick with the vote. We may make a decision to go inside and finish our speaking inside. If we have to do that, how many of you going to go inside with us? All right.
Why can't we wait? We can no longer wait to buy another casket and bury another loved one. We can no longer wait on our children screaming, "Why not help us now?" We can no longer wait to hear the death cries from the graves and the ground beneath us throughout the state of Tennessee. We can no longer wait for innocent children and adults who were expected to come home, but because someone had the legal right to purchase an assault weapon, also known as an AR-15, and decided to walk into another grocery store, a school, even a church, a synagogue, a mosque, and have target practice.
Teach, Reverend.
Gun violence is the #1 killer of children in Tennessee, taking more lives in car accidents. We need common sense gun reform now. We need legislators who can feel the pain of death. Why can't we wait? We can't wait to an end of another year to read over 100 names of those brothers and sisters who have been displaced because of lack of affordable health care and housing. Unfortunately, when it comes to health care, Tennessee ranks as the 9th worst in the country. Today, more than 11% of Tennesseans, nearly 800,000 residents, are without coverage. That is simply criminal. We can't wait any longer for Medicare expansion, not to have successful debate on the General Assembly floor while the stain of blood continues to expand all over us.
That's right.
By refusing to expand Medicaid, the state's political leadership has decided to let lower income whites, black, Asians, Latinos suffer while they have significant health care coverage. Dr. Martin Luther King said, of all the forms of inequity, injustice in health care is the most shocking and inhumane. We need affordable health care now for our most vulnerable. We need moral and ethical legislators that possess the moral capacity, consciousness, and courage to do the redemptive thing now. Follow the Micah mandate to act justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with our God.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Nashville. As someone who has worked for 15 years in housing and healthcare, it is my honor to stand up with Bishop Barber and the rest of my clergy colleagues and medical professionals and address the lack of affordable housing and healthcare in Tennessee. We cannot ignore the reality that too many of our fellow Tennesseans are struggling to find a place to call home. Families are forced to choose between paying for rent or putting food on their tables. Veterans who have bravely served our country are sleeping on the streets. Our siblings who are struggling with addiction or mental health issues are left without the support they need to get back on their feet. Tennessee has one of the highest rates of uninsured individuals in the country. This means that too many people are not able to access the care they need to stay healthy and thrive. As people of faith and as members of this great movement for justice, we cannot remain silent while our neighbors are suffering. We must take action to ensure that everyone has a safe and stable place to call home and adequate health care. And I am going to turn my 1 minute left over.
Just a second,
Yes,
a
sir.
second. I want us to hear that part of the reason we're saying to the media is that they oftentimes, it's not intentional maybe, want to just focus on one issue.
Yes.
We must address the whole spirit of death and the politics of death.
Yes.
Now, I must ask you something rather than turn over. I want the students to come because we said that we would keep a time and discipline. And if we don't let these students talk to us, right? So all the students come. Would y'all welcome them? All the students that have come here. And then we're going to make a tactical decision to go inside possibly and have everybody else finish. Just like we did tomorrow Monday, we went inside in North Carolina and we kept right on speaking. And we invited the media to come right on in with us. Let's welcome these students. Would you all introduce yourselves and share your truth and your story?
My name is Bobby.
My name is Helena. We're both volunteers with Students Demand Action at Vanderbilt. We're both studying to be educators.
As students, future teachers, and members of the Nashville community, we are here to say enough. We've seen enough death, we've seen enough grief, and we've seen enough in action.
3 weeks ago, 6 people were shot and killed at the Covenant School. We shouldn't be able to imagine what the people inside those classrooms were feeling that day. But the truth is that every teacher in this country has had to face that terrifying thought that they might not be able to keep their students safe. This is shameful, and we won't accept it.
Take a look at the movement we're building. When lawmakers look out from the Capitol today, they'll come face to face with our coalition. They'll have no choice but to confront a sea of young people, faith leaders, survivors, teachers, and community members at their doorstep, fed up and demanding action.
Right now, lawmakers are preparing to vote on dangerous legislation that would make it easier to arm teachers in our state. And later this week, they'll also be advancing bills to lower the age for permitless carry, opening our public spaces to even greater risk.
While kids are dying, while students are being told to run, hide, and fight, the so-called solution our lawmakers are offering is to put more guns in more places. We want safe schools, not fortresses. We want to be teachers, not soldiers.
It's time our lawmakers did this and listen. Inevitable. Right now, they have the opportunity to pass an extreme risk law to help keep us safe.
It's time these lawmakers face the generation they are failing to protect. We are fed up. We are angry, and we will not be silenced. We will stop short at nothing until we see change the state needs.
The tide is shifting and their time is running out. To our lawmakers, do your job. 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 Do your job.
Thank you.
Hello, Tennessee. My name is Kayla Prowl, and I am a current senior at Vanderbilt University, but I'm also here with the Equity Alliance. I want to say that it's good to see you guys today, but quite frankly, I'm tired of having these same conversations, marching on the streets, begging for the same thing. We're all tired. We've been out here for the last few weeks, but I know for many, this has felt like a lifetime. And I don't need to tell you why we're out here. I don't need to tell you that guns are the leading cause of death right now in Tennessee, or that guns don't belong in schools. I don't need to tell you that while gun violence is now ravaging our Nashville community, guns and gun violence have been present, prominent, and persistent in Black, brown, poor, and marginalized communities alike. I don't need to tell you that while we sit out here and watch our brothers, our sisters, and members of our community be slaughtered, that members and politicians accept dark money and black money from the NRA, they fill their pockets and don't even send their children to these war zones that they call schools. At 22 years old, I have never known a life without school shootings. I have never known a life without gun violence, and I can say it myself because at 9 years old, I looked down the barrel of the gun for a first time. I'm here at 22 years old to tell you all that the time for please and thank yous is gone. We are living in a time where each and every one of us is fighting for our lives, and we will not stop until freedom and peace is won. And with that being said, Nashville, I'll leave you with this. Don't stop. Don't get quiet. Don't thin out when the cameras go and the tragedy's past. Stay loud, stay strong, stay together, and heal in community. And for you lawmakers, GOP, Bill Lee, and Cameron Sexton, you better get ready, because at 22 years old, me, my friends, and my community, we're coming for that house. You better get ready for that eviction, because my community is coming to lead the community the way they know best. We are out here fighting this good fight, and we are not gonna stop till it's won.
That's right. And you know what she just said? See, some people think that's empty rhetoric. But the truth is, in every southern state, hear me, you won't hear this in the media. In every southern state, if you register or cause to vote, 20% of the already registered poor and low-wealth voters who don't vote are around an agenda for truth and justice and life. You don't have to beg, you can give some folk a vacation. You say, Rambo, how you know? Because in 2013, we started Morrow Monday in North Carolina with 17 people. It grew to over 100,000 people in the street in 6 months. When they left, we went home behind them. And in the next election, we sent home an extremist governor. We changed the state Supreme Court. We beat them in voter suppression at the ballot box. But you gotta organize. You gotta mobilize. You gotta work hard. And you've gotta go everywhere they even say you should not be. So when my sister says, we coming for that house, that needs to be our cry all over the South. We coming for that house. We're coming for that Senate. We don't have to use violence. We'll use our power. We're coming young. We're coming old. We're coming middle-aged. We're coming protesting. We're coming voting. We're coming. And we intend to get what we're coming for. This is Moral Fusion. Now, I want to ask two bishops, one Episcopal, one Methodist, an imam, and a rabbi to come. Yara's going to sing a piece that we need to hear and put it in our spirit right now. They're going to come, then we're going inside. And we're going to finish inside. How many of you going to go inside? And we're going to speak on the inside. We're going to read our demands on the inside. We're going to try to take these caskets on the inside. But they're not going to get a rest today. They're going to hear us today. And what they need to know is what they hear today is what they're going to hear in their own districts and at the ballot box until justice comes. Come on, Yara. Come on, singers. Just a short piece. Then we got 4 quick speakers and we're going inside.
While I'm coming up to the mic, come on and say, all over the South. We're coming for the house. We're coming for the house. Come on, all over the South. We're coming for the house. We're coming for the house. Again, all over the South. All over the South. We're coming for the house. We're coming for the house. They might as well get ready because we shall not be moved. Come on, you know it. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. I said we shall not be moved. Oh, just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved. They won't separate us. We shall not be moved. No, they won't separate us. We shall not be moved. Oh, just like a tree planted by the water. I said we shall not be moved. Go tell the senators. We shall not be moved. Go tell the governor. We shall not be moved. Oh, just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved. One more time. Oh, we shall not be moved. I said we shall not be moved. Like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved. Shall not be moved. Oh, children, we shall not.
I am Bishop Van Henning Byfield, the Bishop of the African Methodist Episcopal Church for the states of Kentucky and Tennessee, and the chair of the Denomination Social Action Commission. We are here to thank God that a few ignoble leaders use injustice against noble leaders to ignite a moral response for justice in Tennessee. And so we've come to say stop, because we are on the case. Stop the redistricting of Nashville and other communities that through gerrymandering gives voter suppression and diminish African American voters. Stop increased gentrification in Nashville, the rezoning of neighborhoods. Stop no action against gun control. Stop the redistricting that diminishes health for children, women, and the disenfranchised. Stop telling us that we are going to add lynching to capital punishment and to make persons who are homeless and unhoused criminals. We need to stop redistricting with the same people who vote against the stopping of gun laws are the same people who vote against health, vote against housing, vote against anything that is good for the nation. So I'm here to say we have come together, working together, believing together, praying together, marching together, politicizing together, protesting together, denouncing that children have value because we are one. We are one. We are one. We are one. And we will stop as one.
We are one. We are one. We are one.
My name is Mary Ann Buddy. I come to you from Washington, D.C., and I just want to assure you that there is no geographic limitation to the evil that you are fighting in Tennessee. It exists all over this land, and it is housed north, south, east, west, but so is the movement rising up to address it. And there are people of all colors, all people of all classes, all people of all walks of life who are rising up and saying, as you are saying here, there is a better way. And I feel that the most important thing that we can do is address the lie that kept people like you and me 60 years ago thinking that nothing could be done to address the evils of those days until others stood up and said, yes, there is. There is something we can do. And so just as our forebears fought to end Jim Crow, just as our forebears fought to end the spectacle of public lynching with crowds cheering them on, there are things that we can do and are doing to prevent the ongoing spread of this epidemic of gun violence. And we are the ones. We are the ones to say to those who refuse to do their job, we elect you, we appoint you to do this work, and if you will not do it, you need to get out of the way and let the rising ones come and take your place. I'm so honored to be among you, and I will take your prayers and your goodwill with me, and know that yours will go with me, and we will work together to fight that lie and create the vision that God has given us in our hearts to make it a reality in this land.
Assalamu alaikum. Brothers and sisters, I witness that nothing has the right to be worshipped except the Lord of all the worlds, the Lord of the white, the Lord of the black, the Lord of the Latinos, the Lord of all human beings. Brothers and sisters, we are in a situation now where we have to look at ourselves as humanity. I'm a human being. And that means I'm responsible for what happened to other human beings. I'm responsible for what happened to babies. I'm responsible for how women have to cry concerning their babies. I'm a human man, a human being. Now, I got some ideas about gun violence, and I discussed some of them with Chief Dre. And I think I'm going to take a quick stab at this right here and right now. I think 11 and 12th graders, the boys especially, should be taken to the gun range, taught how to shoot guns. And listen to what I'm saying.
Sir, Imam, I have to stop you for this. That is not a part of our agenda. Okay. We invited you to come. We don't need to teach them how to shoot. Now, I'm gonna have to take bishop authority and bring our rabbi up. We'll talk about that later. But that can't be a part of our. Yeah. That is love. That is love. That's right.
I'm Rabbi Shana Mackler from the temple here in Nashville. We are at a moral crossroads where an ideology has morphed into idolatry. The false sanctity of the Second Amendment has turned into a violation of our Second Commandment. You shall have no other gods beside me. We have put this ideology above everything, about everything we value, rendering it sacrosanct, unable to be touched or altered in any way. And in order to show loyalty to this false god, we must offer it a sacrifice. As a nation, we have been sacrificing to this idol, offering our loved ones up in schools, in synagogues, in churches, and on street corners, in malls and movie theaters. Nearly every prophet warned of this hubris, of making gods of our own power, our own comfort, our own property. And now we see, as the prophet Jeremiah said, streets lined with the blood of our children and the wailing of parents never ceasing. When children are killed in an elementary school and our inaction in the face of horrific gun violence renders it acceptable, we are sacrificing our core belief in the sanctity of life. When the medical community shouts from the rooftops that this epidemic is a public health crisis and we deny health care and mental health care, we are sacrificing our safety to this idol. When lettuce or toys can be recalled as a danger to society, but our leaders refuse to act as the gun deaths eclipse nearly every other cause of death, we are sacrificing our sanity. When it's harder to buy Sudafed than a gun, when technologies are put aside and reasonable policies are put aside, we are sacrificing our future. And we are literally sacrificing our children to this morally ossified God. We must act together.
Together.
I'm Rabbi Lindsay Danziger. I represent the Religious Action Center of Reform Judaism, a movement of 2 million souls from a tradition that teaches to destroy a single life is to destroy an entire world. I am a mother of 3 beautiful children. Since they were 18 months old, they have been playing a game at school called Quiet Mouse. They turn the lights off, they huddle all the children in a corner or a closet, and they tell them to be as quiet as a mouse. The littlest babies get lollipops to stop them from making noise. It does not work. How can we tolerate that here in America we send our children to school to rehearse being hunted by weapons of war? We send our children to school to rehearse their own deaths. My ancestors did not flee to this country from Nazis, from pogroms, so my children could cower in a closet by day and awake to nightmares of bad guys by night. We must do better for all of our children because they are all of our children. I'm here because I am a rabbi. I need you. We need each other. Our safety is in our solidarity. May we unite to build a world free from want, free from racism, free from fear, and free from violence.
Brothers and sisters, we got to take this inside. I want to ask you a question. Very serious moral question. Will you all keep this going in Tennessee? You have to decide. We started with 17 people every Monday till they went home, and then we followed them home. We're willing to help. We're going back to North Carolina to start again, and then Florida the next week. But I want you to hear this very deeply, because we have to have a certain kind of consciousness. We cannot allow ourselves to only be moved when we see the death. When it's on the media.
All right. Say it, Bishop.
We have said over and over again that more children die from gun violence than any other thing. But most of those deaths don't get the attention. And extremists bet on that. That we'll only really move and mobilize if we see it as graphically. Now, we need to see it. We need to make them see it. But if 700 people are dying a day from poverty, shouldn't we be moving about that too? If 250,000 people are dying a day from poverty before COVID, sometimes can those in the back stop talking, because if we can't listen to each other, they're not going to listen to us. I come from a tradition that requires that you believe somebody got up from a grave whom you've never seen it. You just believe it because you heard it, because it's the truth. If 2,800 people are dying every 500,000 people that are denied health care, shouldn't we be moved about that too? My point is, we can't go home, y'all. You know, I hear people sometimes saying they're tired, and God knows I'm tired. I bear it too many. But there are 2 kinds of tired.
Tell him, Bishop.
There's a tired when you're frustrated and you say, well, nothing's going to happen. Then there's a tiredness that emboldens your agitation. That's the tiredness we need. The sick and tired of being sick and tired. But see, that kind of tiredness will make you stay off buses 381 days and have mass meetings every night for a whole year until change comes. Y'all don't hear what I'm saying. That kind of tiredness will make you go to court for 57 years until you overturn Plessy versus Ferguson. It's a different kind of tiredness. That kind of tiredness will make you stay in jail 27 years and come out just as clear on justice as when you went in, Nelson Mandela. That kind of tiredness will make you get arrested again and again and again and again. They must know that this time death has not just touched us for a moment. And they must know that we want to challenge all of it. You can't, if tomorrow they pass the gun laws, you can't go home. Because folk are still dying. White and black folk can't just come together, and Latinos, when our children die, we ought to be coming together even if what would kill them is in place and hasn't killed them yet. We ought to undo it before it kills them. And we cannot say our legislators now have the job. Don't put that on the legislators. Now, they should do their job. But the people have to stay in the people's house and stay in the street until change comes. I bet you if y'all march in Nashville through the tourism season, some change would come. Y'all don't want to hear that. Huh? I bet if you start marching in the middle of the day during tourism and shut down the traffic, change would come. That's what we have to be willing to do. And so are you ready to be on the front line? Now, it's going to take us a minute to get in there. I want the folk that don't carry the caskets to come get ready. They got it all tied up. You got to go through all this stuff. And they're going to bet y'all going to go home. That's exactly what they're going to say. They're not going to take the time. We better prove them wrong. We better prove them wrong. Somebody said, we ready. We ready. We ready. We ready. That's what the young folks say, we ready. Come on, y'all, and y'all know that? Rob Stevens going to come. You see Reverend Jackson, how tall he is. Those of y'all that are going in, you follow him. If you see him, he's taller than all of us, then you're in the right direction. Come on, Rob and Reverend Jackson. If you got an ADSU, follow me. We're going to go right in, right over here across the street. Everybody that was carrying a casket, come on the steps. While they're on the steps, Rob, come on and give us our instructions. And all of you that had to speak, we're going to finish on the inside. Somebody say finish. On the inside. We're going to be real loud. On the inside.
All right, as we prepare to go inside the people's house and make sure they know it's ours, if you would walk not up these stairs, but to use the ramp, and especially we want the people with the orange armbands to lead the way through that. So if you don't have an orange armband, wait just a second, and we're going to lead them up, and then you follow behind. If you can walk these stairs, you're going to stay to the left and follow the marshals up to the entrance on the left. If you need ADA access, you're going to march right through these glass doors across the street. So again, make your way to stage right, house left over here, and we're going to cross the street and go into the people's house. Those with the caskets, please follow, and you'll be going into ADA entry.
I need to take the elevator.
Caskets.
Okay. I'm your marshal for down here then.
Oh yeah, we're gonna marshal. Yeah, so caskets over here.
Caskets up here, line up.
And we're gonna try going here.
All right. Yeah. Go up here.
Y'all two over here. We're going to do both sides.
Okay. Both sides. Come.
Okay, no, that's good. It's good. That's good. No, stop. Caskets. On my mark.
You've been building your kingdom all over the land. Hatred, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. We're gonna tear
Doc say ready for one of those teas when we get a chance. Not now. So you go back over there.
Tell him to pull one out.
All right. Casket, come on. Thank you for your.
Casket's falling behind.
Should we go 1, 2, 3?
Where's Bishop? Where's Bishop? Pastor, you want to come behind me? Bishop, you want to come right here? Well, Bishop, here we go. We can go in 2 by 2.
Pepper spray, no base. Space, give us some space, y'all. Give our folks some space. Give our folks some space. We can't, it's locked.
Get your mask on.
Sorry about that.
One person that please don't do it, I'm gonna start crying again. Please.
I want y'all to let's do. Just start humming. I've got a feeling. Real easy. Where's y'all at? Everything be alright, be alright. rose up. She done told us if we stand.
Everything's gonna be alright.
If we stand, Rosa
Told us
everything's
gonna be alright.
if we stand.
Rosa told us
Everything.
Wait, hold on, wait. Y'all can go in before the passes.
Don't you know, Martin?
They're not letting me bring in the stool.
What's your name?
Why they won't let the stool come in?
I'm right here.
This is look at your chair. Huh? Look at your chair upstairs. I can't use another one. That's ADF.
You said you're gonna get it upstairs?
No, they won't give him a chair upstairs.
I can't use
You
it.
cannot allow that chair to go in. I'm not sure.
It's a prescription. That's a
Prescribed chair.
The lawyers are
An attorney, so if we could just take that up and we're able to run it through the
Just like this
machines
cane.
and ensure that there's nothing in it. Can we run the chair through the machine, if that would be helpful? Because he's not able to sit in a regular chair.
I got you.
Thank you.
Thank you, officer.
We'll get someone down here to.
I can carry that.
No. We'll get someone down here to figure it out. Okay,
The
supervisor.
problem is I can't move.
He can't move
I
without
got
the
sick,
chair.
like,
He has
if
to
it's,
be
I'm
on
gonna fall
the
out.
Rob, we got
They're
you.
gonna bring a supervisor down here to double check it because we can't really authorize that.
We can't authorize
They're gonna get
that, so-
somebody
They're bringing
that,
the
They're bringing a
supervisor
supervisor down here right now.
okay, on his way down.
You make sure you.
You wanna wait right here till we get the
I'm gonna start walking
Okay.
that way.
This stuff.
Y'all hear that?
Peer press.
It's not you guys. He's a good guy.
You don't need pepper spray or anything in here or anything
No,
like that?
no,
Okay.
sir.
Just handicapped. That's like me saying I can't take a wheelchair.
You just walk up with
I ain't never seen it.
Is this your phone?
Yeah.
Okay, wheelchair.
Just pass it on through here.
Ain't gonna offer.
That's all right. Just get a bag.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Now, I'm supposed to call somebody about the elevator.
All the way down to the elevator will be all the way.
What's that?
That elevator goes down, so you're trying to get up to the house, right?
Sit in again. Thank you, sir. I don't know my way around here. I can't sit in, I can't do a wheelchair. That's my wheelchair.
I was just trying to get out.
He can sit in it while you're standing here.
I'm gonna keep going. Now, I'm gonna keep going to the elevator. I'm gonna believe somebody gonna get it pretty quick. Bob, just make sure they get it. You and Janelle.
Okay, we in the.
Pardon me, sir?
Make sure you and Janelle get it to me.
Yes, I will.
Yep.
Bishop. Bishop. They're not letting the coffins.
They said the coffins can't come in.
They said the coffins can't come. Coffins cannot come through here. Hand up. Can't bring them in.
That's what they said.
So the coffins, those are our props. That's like, just tell them sit them down until we can figure out.
Sit them down on blankets. I got a picture.
That's it, easy on. So, is there a,
On blankets.
That's not their.
On blankets.
Sorry.
they don't have the blanket?
They do.
Let me ask you a question. Who said this couldn't come in? Oh, is the supervisor here?
They're coming down.
Okay. Is that I just want trying to figure out, is that a state law or is that just a temporary rule? That they can't, is there a reason why they can't bring them?
They've just been advised not to let them.
Oh, you've been advised, okay.
Yes.
All right.
Let's get it, Alex. Let's get it.
How about the child's coffin? Can that one, because it's a size issue? What? So there's a rule that actually says no coffins. I'm just trying to figure out what the basis of this is. Is there something
No
that says?
props larger than this size.
Well, what
Sheet of
about-
paper.
No prop larger than that. I mean, no, I'm saying, there's a prop up there larger than that. You got one larger than that.
This is the entry.
I've been here 3 weeks ago
All I'm asking, sir, is that a constitution? Is that in your constitution? Or is that just something y'all come up with a rule?
We just been advised not to let them in, sir.
No, I get that. I'm not mad at y'all. I'm trying to understand, is this a constitutional rule or just a rule of the House?
Honestly, we don't know.
You don't know,
That's-
okay? That's what I want to know, because
Yeah,
you can't. There's no rule in the Tennessee Constitution that says you can only bring in something that size.
The supervisor's coming down currently.
Card, and then. Say what?
Can y'all got something to sit them down on without scraping them? Yeah, tell them to, yeah.
Yeah, freelance.
When you saw the supervisor, they coming down the hall?
They're coming down right now.
They've been coming right now for a long time. I'm
Yes,
glad
sir.
they don't
The,
emerge.
the elevator system that we have here can get clogged out.
Oh.
And, that's.
But now look, those cameras are bigger than that. They coming in here. That camera is the same size as that coffin.
Like I said, sir, the
I'm just making a point. I'm
I
just making a
understand.
point. The camera is the same size as the coffin, but the coffin can't come. I just don't, and I know that ain't no constitutional rule. That's what I'm saying.
You can grab the chair and bring it up here for me. Just bring it up here by the elevators.
Look right there. That baby's and that's bigger than that coffin.
We got the chair, Bishop.
So they want to bring the coffins in.
Huh?
Yeah. Okay. And he has a
We have
medical
a stool.
reason for his chair, so I'm gonna let them bring the chair.
That's fine.
But
Who's the supervisor?
He's right here.
So what I'm trying to ask, thank you so much, is that when our lawyers went through the Tennessee Constitution to decide what we were going to do, we didn't see anything in there that we could not bring a placard bigger than 8.5 by 10. We could not bring a coffin. The cameras are bigger than the coffin. That roller was bigger than the coffin. I'm surely bigger than the coffin. And all I want to know is where's this rule coming from? It's not in your Constitution.
All I was instructed is that the caskets are not allowed in the building.
Can you tell us who instructed? It might have been the speaker. Is that who? Because he can't decide.
I'm not sure if it was the speaker or not. No, sir. I don't
Well,
know.
we need to know, because that means that you got somebody telling citizens in Tennessee that they can't come in their own building.
Where's the coffins at?
Right there. Man, we're not gonna hurt nobody with them. They come through the other detective.
Yeah. Unfortunately, sir,
Can
that
I
was,
talk to
that
the
was
next
the
person?
directive that I was given.
I would love to know who the director is of the directive.
Okay.
Because it's nothing, Janelle.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we need to take this into court, because there's nothing in the Constitution that says this can't happen. I mean, these are good guys. These guys here, I'm not worried about them. They doing what they told.
Can we at least bring the infant coffins in? Those are smaller.
No, ma'am. Unfortunately, we can't bring it.
So whoever done it just don't want to see them. And it's because it had to be somebody that's in control of the legislature. So y'all need to understand that in Tennessee, your state legislative people, somebody has given a rule. It's not these guys. Don't be mad at them. They're just doing what they're told. But somebody has literally said that if people want to bring in coffins to show what their policies are doing, you can't come in, even though the Constitution doesn't say that. Yeah.
Like I said, sir, it's my apologies, but that's not our rule, and that's not, that's not me saying.
Can you tell me at least, though, I would like to know our attorney here so we can go to the person. I'm gonna go upstairs, go on the floor, see can't we, y'all can sit them down, and we're gonna send word back, see can't we get a legislator to come down and bring them in. All right, can y'all wait? Clerk, would y'all wait? Can y'all hear me? Ask them, do they understand what's going on?
Was he the one needing the stool?
Yes.
I'm gonna go upstairs, Jenny. Thank you. What's your name, sir?
Simpkins.
Officer Simpkins. Thank you so much.
So they should let the other folks through, right?
Huh?
There's other ADA folks here.
Yeah, the other 88. All the other 88. Y'all probably need to be up there, Rob, holding the fort. The other folk won't know how to handle it. Hey, Hannah.
Hannah's not behind us. Hannah went on.
Somebody tell Rob. How far is the elevator?
There was a wheelchair there.
Yes.
You probably want to get upstairs. Thank you.